the juvenile fillies to 14 of them across the track. Field set on their way. And of the dance on the outside, broke a little sideways with Pro KK, but meanwhile it's going to be stopped. But running on now, and Somali Lemonade's got 8 to make up. They come to the top of the lane. Stop shopping. Maria's got a lot left. Stop shopping. Maria goes on. Sweet Cat is right there. Hard not to right. Royal Body is running on. Past the 8 ball way comes. Stop shopping. Maria for the run. Still under a hand ride as they come to the 16th. Stephanie's Kitten coming out late. Yes, Stephanie's Kitten coming fast. Stephanie's Kitten. Stop shopping Maria. Stephanie's Kitten's water. Watched the chances, broke smartly, but so did Terra from the Cape. On the inside, Sky Lantern, the Grey going well. If he can get through. Sky Lantern, the Grey looking for somewhere to run. Wide open. It's Terra from the Cape hanging on. Terra from the Cape tries to go all the way. On the outside now, here comes Flotilla in the light blue. Flotilla is absolutely flying. Watch the chances in there too. But Flotilla has gone right on by. And Flotilla is coming home to score. Flotilla has won it just about 2 in the end. It'll be Watch the Chances, Summer of Fun, coming on to finish third.
Live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report, coming to you live from the backstretch of Saratoga Race Course on another beautiful morning. Hopefully stays this way. Very light humidity, soft breeze in the air, and said it before, great weather when you're wearing a jacket and tie on a television set. I'm joined by my friend and partner, Seth Merrow. Seth, happy Thursday.
This is the way we like it. Man, this is gorgeous. And the whole day, the whole afternoon
enjoyable.
Yesterday was gorgeous. So, yeah, this is the way we like it up here in Saratoga. And the horses enjoyed. I got stuck for 10 minutes there as a Chad Brown set of about 20 crossed the street. Went through Clare Court, and yeah, they were just kept coming and coming and coming. But that's part of the beauty of Saratoga.
It is. They're coming and going right now as we speak outside of our window as you were. But interesting day of racing yesterday. We're trying to get this turf course to a summertime firm. It might take a little bit, but we are going in the right direction. And we're going to show Seth, the audience, a 11 furlong turf race yesterday, which getting a few of the things. According to my records, the second slowest one ever. Gary Siaka and Georgie Chavez about 25 years ago had a $60 winner, Ecolite. But yesterday, the 8th race, Lovely Lucky, 6-5 on the board. I think we're going to pick this up at about the 3/8 pole. And we're going to let you watch it. Here they come around the corner. You can see the split. Naira doing a great job there. There's the mile. The 1.25 one should be coming up in just a moment, which will ring up 2:12. There you have the 1.25, 2:12.32. And this is, since this is a 1 3/8 race, they're still running. and they will trip the teletimer in 1 furlong less than about Secretariat went in the Man of War, but 2:24:46. Seth, when I started doing my spreadsheets and stuff, and I saw 27:18, which is about the slowest opening quarter ever, 54:55, 122:18, which are obviously extremely slow. Rails were up, given the course listed as good. But then I saw 2:12:32, which is racehorse time for 11 furlongs. I'm like, it's not the way equines work. So I got suspicious, and then I realized the chart is not good. And it's my understanding, Seth, and that the daily racing form chart, the Equibase chart, is the same source. It's not two different sources that you can cross-check anymore. It's been for 30 years, right? There's only one group that collects the data. So I know my friend has the Equibase chart up there, and that's what the daily racing form chart looked like.
Yeah, same.
That's just not good.
It's just a little bit of a different format.
However it works, I guess if you saw 2:12:32, you'd be like, that seems a reasonable final running time for a mile and 3/8, but not when you see the early fractions. And one thing, the information that I collect, and it's not that important, Seth, from a historical standpoint, but I keep the rail positions. A couple years ago, I called you from Santa Anita when I was at the Breeders' Cup, and I liked Taurus a little bit. Remember that horse, a miler and everything. And I said a couple years ago on opening day, I think it was the restricted Sir Cat Stakes, he ran what I thought was perhaps the fastest mile they've ever run here. And the reason I said that was the rails were down, and I had looked back up the two most previous mile record holders, and the rails were up. And then Seth will remember this. Well, as soon as I say it, he'll remember it. Not that long ago, they were hand-timed on the turf. Mm-hmm. So I always thought Taurus ran the fastest mile because he did it with the rails down. My point is, some of these internal fractions, albeit not the slowest ever, the other two slow ones were when the rails were at 18 feet. The rails were at 9 feet yesterday. So just some bookkeeping. I think if you collect enough data, you'll see where when the rails are up at different settings, Seth, you start to see where I would almost go so far as to say it's almost impossible to run like 22 and change for the opening quarter mile on the turf with some rail settings. But yesterday, I know the course was labeled as good. I know the rails were up. John Embrial, great job. The first time he said posted in 27:18, Seth, I don't think he referred to the internal fractions the rest of the race. Now, if you remember, it was a short field, so I've never called a race, but you have an 11 furlong turf race with a field of 6. There's a lot of fill time. There's a lot of fill time, but John, I think this is accurate, never went back to the half or the 3/4, and if you watch it, there's clearly time for them to get John to say, and the half is 54-2, etc., but also note that they didn't post the right final running time, which was 2:24:46. So take that for what it's worth. But it's, as I've said, and I've said this before, there are times, Seth, when according to the data in the middle of the day, the workers at NYRA are going out and taking the rails down, which doesn't happen ever or such. So that's race replays. Brian and I talked about it yesterday for other handicapper reasons, but and Lovely Lucky got up at 6-5 and scored the victory, and Gary Siaka's Acolyte still has the slowest 11 furlongs on turf, at least according to my records, and they could be just as susceptible to error as we just pointed out.
A dubious distinction.
Well, I'm sure Gary didn't care when he scored at $60. He's like, me and Georgie, we're good. We're good down the road. And what's the old line Woody Stevens used to say? Time is only important if you're serving it or in jail or something. But just for our fans out there, I mean, trust me, tell our son I make 37 mistakes a day. I just want him to be 37 different mistakes every day. And I've said this before, Seth, and I mean, I think it's very important. I don't know where to go with this, but I think the collection of data and information is very important enough to be right better than this.
Oh, in this game, that's what it's all about.
I have a real problem. I guess there is no solution, but Seth, I don't think anybody that follows the game ever believes the teletimer when the rails are up. I mean, that was Tom Durkin's verb all the time. The opening quarter is posted it's posted. You know, if you believe your eyes, you believe your eyes. Apparently, we can't do anything about getting it more right.
No, that for the past, going back the past year or so, the figure makers at various venues have been kind of railing about timing and timing issues. And I think justifiably so, because as you just said,
seems to be
particularly in this sport, it's very important to have the numbers right, because that's all we're going on. And our precious money is based on those numbers.
And we started working together at least 15 years ago, maybe closer to 18, but we used to talk about the Japan Cup and the Japan Racing Association. They had, the exact time of each individual runner at each pole. And that was a long time ago. And that, I don't think people called into their, nobody said, no, you're way off. These are not even close to being right. So just something going forward that don't believe the chart. Hopefully, I don't know, do they ever go back and correct it?
Oh, I think probably that'll get that.
Well, I'll give you one just as a thing. Someday, for kicks and giggles, on Equibase.com, look up in excess track record in the Suburban. Trust me, it's not right. The data on Equibase is not right for his July 4th, 9th. I think it still stands, right? His mile quarter dirt race over at 30 years now. I think it's not right. Trust me when I tell you it's not right. Do you have anything since we last saw it?
Okay. I'm going to tout, you saw the book when I came in, and I will tout it for folks, because I ran into our friend Bill Heller yesterday. Well, came back to the press box. I haven't seen Bill in a couple of years. Bill's, I was going to say retired. He's not really retired, because he's doing things like this.
I was going to say, I thought he was trying to write some book.
A couple other outlets as well. But Bill, of course, longtime writer for the racing season and the Gazette and selections as well. So it was fun to see Bill.
Graded entries year round. Bill, he was a full-time.
Yeah, absolutely. And so again, it was fun to see Bill. Folks maybe remember Bill, and if you want to meet and say hello to Bill, today's the day. He gave me a copy of his latest book, Fred Hooper, The Extraordinary Life of a Thoroughbred Legend, and he has a signing this morning right across the street in the Racing Museum, and it goes from 10 until noon. So wherever you're watching us in the area, you have time to hop in the car and make it up here and meet Bill and get an autographed copy of the book. Again, right across the street, 10 to noon today at the Racing Museum. Fred Hooper, The Extraordinary Life of a Thoroughbred Legend. So
tremendously nice man.
Oh, you met him?
Yes. This is going back. He had Precisionist, who was one of my favorite horses of all time. Very small group of horses who's won a grade 1 at 6 furlongs and at 10 furlongs. Now, remember, graded stakes didn't start until 1973. I think the Breeders' Cup Sprint was the first grade 1 at 6 furlongs. So I don't like when people give out soft statistics, but now that statistic has had almost 40 years to kick in. But what I always get disappointed was that, Hoop Jr. was the first horse he won the Kentucky Derby. Precisionist might have been the best horse he owned. They didn't put Precisionist in the Hall of Fame until after he passed away. Mr. Hooper lived to be, I think, north of 100. And Precisionist, to me, if you look at his race record, boy, it is hard to imagine, a more versatile, at the highest level of the game, racehorse than Precisionist. Great red, white, and blue silks. I'll never forget when Chris McCarron went in the Hall of Fame, and I kind of knew Chris casually from Southern California, and I saw him because you remember the old days. It used to kind of be like on a Thursday. They would come over, the jockeys and everything.
Yeah.
And I
stand in the winner's circle.
I said, Mr. Hooper's here. You should have seen his eyes lit up, and he went to see him. And the other thing I remember was, boy, you want to talk about Murderer's Row. They have, when you come up what I'll call the main staircase to the box seats, There's three of them in next to each other when you get to the landing, and I believe this is right. It was Paul Mellon, Fred Hooper, and King Ranch. That is murderer's row of horse racing titans. But yeah, a great guy, and that's his wife. I remember meeting her. But Precisionist, I think, was the last big time horse he had, and he was a big time.
Yeah, I mean,
horse.
you don't get bigger than that.
No, he was great. You look up his record in that Champions book, and a Hall of Famer now. I apologize. Nobody's in my ear for the DePaulo play of the day? Is that at the end today? Now?
Yeah.
Is that the end?
I think, yeah.
You weren't even at the production meeting. How do you know these things?
I think I was at the pre-production meeting.
Oh, you're at the pre-production meeting. All right, then. I guess we'll get right into it, my friend, right?
The deal is Anthony's doing breakfast over there. So
he comes in
later
at the end when he can fill it in. That's tremendous.
When he can get away from...
That's great. And I'll tell you now, I didn't want to do it on the air because is he doing what Mary Ryan used to do?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you something, folks. And I wasn't positive when I talked to Anthony last week. Of all the things that helped grow Saratoga precipitously, starting in the late 70s, Mary Ryan out there in the morning was a major part of the upstaters falling in love with horse racing. She seemed to know everybody. I can remember Woody Stevens coming with his horse over to talk to her. She recognized every horse. It was great to be up here at breakfast and have Mary Ryan, and that's the job Anthony Stabile has. We'll touch on that now that I know for sure he's got that job, because that is all part of what makes this place very, very special.
That was one of the things that when you ran into people over the past year, and over the past really 2 or 3 months, as it became clear we would have fans this year, that was one of the things. Are they going to have breakfast? Are they going to have breakfast? And I can remember talking to Pat McKenna before we came up here, kind of previewing things, and he said, yep, breakfast is back. So I think a lot of people were happy
can remember
about
when you get older, it happens, but I could do the breakfast and the whole day at the track. I can't enjoy that anymore. If I do breakfast, I can only make it to halfway of the track and staying out late.
Come on!
No, I can't. I mean, I'm 58 now. It's not easy. If I had to, I would, but I won't. Okay.
You're a toddler.
Yeah. Save that to the gray hair. Opening race this afternoon. This is something they started a couple years ago.
I like
Seth.
these.
I think it's a tremendous
absolutely.
idea.
Otherwise, up here, you're just, well, I'll let you set up the...
It's 2-year-olds, maiden special weights, going 5.5 furlongs, and there's a capital R next to the conditions. And they started this a couple years ago, and this is your opportunity to run for a maiden special weight as long as your horse was $45,000 RNA or less. And where Seth was probably going with this is you don't have, you're protected from running against some 6-figure or even 7-figure horse. And obviously, you don't want to run a maiden claiming race. You want to keep your horse. So you're looking for a maiden special weight race. One of the nicest, best ideas that the Race Association has come up with in the last 10 years for the owners. And we have 9 entered.
Yeah, as demonstrated by a nice field of 9 in here. Kicking things off in the opener, pick 5 action. $80,000 up for grabs for these horses that were, I don't know, I guess in this day and age you would call them bargain prices at auction. I mean, $18,000 and
I see a couple of them are hitting the at the $45,000. But yes, I think in this day and age, especially in partnerships, a lot of people can get in at these prices.
So we'll see. I have it 7, 2, 8, and 6. I put Stolen Base on top. Mike Maker, first-time starter. There was a sibling called Escape that won its career debut, and that's why I like these baby races at Saratoga. For me, you can find some things that aren't on the page, and you don't have to really do much deep diving or spend a lot of money on extra stats or anything. This kind of info is out there. Bodemeister over the past, so far this year, 38 first-time starters, 3 wins, 3 seconds, 3 thirds. I think he's live as a win early type sire. Horse work 21.2 before the April sale. I thought that July 6th workout down at Keeneland signaled the horse could be on its toes and ready to roll early. Tyler Gaffleone on board. I probably said a couple of times already doing this in the opening week that I'm going to be interested to see what Gaffleone does here. I think he's going to do well this season. So just all added up that I thought Stolen Base. A nice little 4-1 morning line might be interesting. King of Sting, there was a sibling called Frazzled that was 8th in debut but won the second start. If I see a win in the first 2 or 3 starts, that's a win early to me. I really, over the past couple of seasons or beyond, Jimmy Creed has been an interesting first outsider so far this year. My stats are also about a week and a half old, I should say, maybe 2 weeks. But when I last pulled them up, 24 first-time starters, 4 wins, 5 seconds, and a third. Pretty solid numbers there for Jimmy Creed out of the box. And then in the third spot, Buckingham Prince. Couple of starts so far. Experience counts. Good improvement start 1 to start 2. Comes up from Ellis for Norm Cassie and Mary Lou Whitney stables. So we'll put that one in the mix as well. For me, 7, 2, 8, and 6.
And Buckingham Prince, the 7-5 morning line favorite, the Mary Lou colors, the only horse who's run in this race and has run twice. That can often be a very big edge. It's 7-5. Luis Saez is clearly the horse to beat. You don't see it on my board, but you see it on Seth. So I have 3 first-time starters. The 7 Seth touched on, so I'll just go. Number 3 is Unbridled Bomber, going out for Jimmy Ryerson, who's already in the win column here. Young Stallion, upstart. Just, I don't know. There's a lot in this race that I don't know. So I want to take a horse at a price. Jose Lescano, a good gate workout for this debut. There was over 100 workouts. This was in the top 10. Just let's go. You have a bunch of firsters and a 7-5 shot veteran for second. I have the outside horse, Big Scully. Dallas Stewart wins at 13% first-time starters, according to Daily Racing Form, with a tremendous return on investment of 342. But the part I like here is cross traffic. As a stallion, young runners breaking from the outside, son of Unbridled Song. So Big Scully, another double-digit morning line price, and then number 7, Stolen Base, the Mike Maker runner. So 397 in the opener.
Top of the page, race number 2. I think this is a competitive card today, but I wrote at the top, this one is a competitive race. The second race, State Bred Optional Claimers. Non-winners are 2 other than sprinting a quick 5.5 on the grass.
And 8 are scheduled for the turf because we have the 2 and the 6 as MTOs. And set that I have a special column on my spreadsheet. I don't label it the Seth Merrow column, but it's the MTO winners at the meet. I think we have 3 so far.
Yeah, I always say.
I know that's AEs and MTOs Seth would like to see designated in the daily
absolutely.
Racing
That's
form.
one of the things I would definitely like to see. If your horse is entered as an MTO, I think that should be absolutely should be a notation in the past performances.
And as a field of 8 as a turf race here, and the rails are 12 and 9, which they've been at since the start. So the first week wasn't a full week, so they're still at that. So I'm 10, 9, 8. On the outside, Time Limit, who ran last year in the Stillwater, which I presume was supposed to go yesterday and must not have been had enough entries. But this horse won by, a pole in the career debut on the dirt. And how the game has changed, the Matron, which used to be a 7 furlong grade 1 race, prepping for the Frizette, now is a 6 furlong turf race in October. This horse ran second there, ran third off the long layoff. I should say these races were in 2019. Took all of 2020 off, was off for the better part of 17 months. This is the 3rd start back. Now, that's a very long layoff. And my rule of thumb is they generally don't come back to the horse that they were. But this horse seems to be close. We're on the outside with the brilliant Irad Ortiz. Number 9, Kinky Socks. This horse has run on the turf 5 times in your daily racing form of late. 3 times has been in a field of 11, drawing the number 1 post position. Now basically gets the other side of the ledger, is outside. And for 3rd, the rail, Fetching, 10-9-1.
I put the 1 on top, 110-7 and 3. I put Fetching on top. As I say, it's just a competitive race. I could have flipped these around and probably have the same level of confidence. But this one comes in off a claim. It was a good effort in the claim, good second-place finish. Luis Saez was on board that day. He's back on board again today. He's riding very well. So, again, a horse in good form, coming off the claim, when dropped essentially to this level last time, or moved to this level last time, and Saez on board. So there's check marks in all the kind of the proper positive columns. So we'll put Fetching on top. Time Limit in the second spot. Has the outside post position, and with the early speed, that may be a kind of a tactical advantage for Irod Ortiz in here. Nice bullet workout coming into this attracted my attention as well. And then Violent Point coming out of Allowance Company into this optional claiming company. This one's interesting to me at 8-1, because if you look at the last two allowance races, they're duds, for lack of a better word. But you look 3 races back, this horse was in this kind of company and won nicely. So I think the last 2 races will darken the form a little bit, and that 8-1 morning line may kind of hold. And I think this horse is perhaps moving back to the comfort zone where that 8-1 is going to be an attractive price for a competitive contender in here. In the second, for me, I have it 1-10, 7-3.
All right, on to the third race. Couple quick notes here. We have 3-year-olds and up maiden special weights, mile on the inner turf. The 3, the 2B, and the 8 are MTOs, and I know this doesn't happen very often, but the 4 has the temporary rail position, has the number 4 saddle cloth is inside most.
Yeah, well, let me figure this out here. I have a 2, the 1 entry, 9 and 6, and if they all run, my 2 will be 1, 2, 3. It will be from the 6th post position.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. If that is a factor. But 2, Mutada on top for me. For Todd Pletcher, 3 starts so far. Buyer figures have improved start 1 to start 2 to start 3, and the last start was clearly the best start, and I think gives the horse a little bit of an edge on this bunch if we get back to that, and I think that's certainly possible. 3rd start of the career, and 3rd start off of a little bit of a 4th start of the career after 3 starts, but 3rd start back off a little bit of a layoff early in the season. So Pletcher, Shadwell, Manny Franco on board again off of that nice effort last time. We'll go with the plain 2, the 1 and the 1A. I think are both playable in here. The 1 Big Everest, couple of starts so far. The career debut was pretty good last year. These are the kind that I think can come back improved, and the number did improve in the first start of the season. The first start as a 3-year-old. Finishing position went back a little bit and finished behind my top pick, but being lightly raced, I wouldn't be shocked to see some further improvement this afternoon. American Law is interesting, trying the turf this afternoon, but I thought, again, a little bit of an interesting scenario. What we've seen so far in the dirt has been promising, and that may indicate this horse moving in against more turf meant horses. A talented dirt horse, maybe it has a little bit of an edge in here. And then in the 3rd spot, Realm of Law. Like my top pick, the numbers have been going forward in the past few starts, and off the last start, finishing just behind my top pick, is kind of logical to be a player in here again today. So for me, 2, the 1 entry, 9 and 6.
I'm 9-7-1. Realm of Law has been the chalk in every career start. Odds on for the debut, 6-5 in the off the turf, 7-5 most recently. To me, is the horse to beat in a race that has some depth to it. For a second, I have a first-time starter, number 7, French Merrow. This is Shug McGahee, Mr. Janney's white with the cherry stripe hoop. An offspring of Orb, and Orb is out of the country now, right? He's in some exotic place now. But one of the things, wins the Kentucky Derby, so he's going to stay, on the casual fan's mind for a long time. Never won a race after the Derby. The Derby's on dirt. But I think it's fair to say his offspring have been turf better. I think he's had far more success with turf runners, and this horse is 8-1 in the morning line, so that's where I was headed for that. For 3rd part of the entry, number 1, scheduled break for number 3 post position. Christophe Clement coming off of a very good day yesterday. This runner makes the 3rd career start. And also, I don't often do it. I threw in number 4 for 4th, a Bill Mott runner, an offspring of Declaration of War. So 9-7-1 in what I think is a very competitive 3rd race. We'll take our first break. When we come back, more live from the backstretch of Saratoga.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku.
The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Where's the best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drink specials, and wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 75 flat-screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you, where's the best sports bar in the capital region? Tell them Legends Field Sports Bar, inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on this Thursday morning. Thursday morning? Yes, I'm all confused now. But seen the horses working out behind us. As I said earlier, if you'd like to stop by the museum today, our friend Bill Heller has a book signing. Fred Hooper, The Extraordinary Life of a Thoroughbred Legend. That'll happen from 10 until noon.
Who is on the cover? Is it Precisionist?
You tell me. I
Well,
wouldn't be able to. I'm not that.
I'm going to say one thing, and if Barbara Livingston, trust me, is far too busy right now. But we talked about Precisionist was as if a very large bucket of bronze paint had just fallen on him. I don't think he had little to no markings, and I noticed that horse has no markings at all.
I mean, it would certainly be appropriate
right.
to have that.
And I'm kind of surprised that the halter doesn't have Precisionist on the side. But if you see her, ask him, because I mean, I'm going back to a conversation 35 years ago, but he was bronze from stem to stern. I mean, it was very little demarcations on him.
I will tee you up here for race number 4, State-Bred Claimers, going 7.
Now, I always like when they put up the picks here so I can. The 8, who loves being claimed, actually probably has no opinion about being claimed, but Seth has on top Central Banker up there with Cross Traffic, folks. I know these horses might not be winning, but they show up as winning stallions, and Central Banker truly shows up. I mean, Spicetown probably has 3 sons producing, which is good. Keeps the line healthy. Galileo will not have that problem.
Is doing well now.
Spicer is another one. I'm slipping on who the third one is. But, all right, dark money is even money's on the outside going 7/8. Seth has him on top. I have him second. After, I just thought everybody else is just about even in the race. And I was just trying to beat dark money, who might be odds on for the George Weaver barn. And I took the other side of the starting gate, number 2, Just Right. Obviously, a very sharp barn. We're drawing the rail. One thing I want to say about 7/8 going a mile, we already had Bo Liam, who was a terrible price, but ran, I think, I don't know what number he got. I think Brian said a 106, but
big.
It's not often that I think even money horses that are life and death to win run huge. But I thought he ran very big in that spot. My point being that he won from the rail, going 7/8. A lot of times we take it out of death. But generally speaking, about 6 horses a meet win from the rail going 7/8. So that stands up pretty good, folks. So I'm less intimidated by the green and white post out here. So I took Just Right as my trying to beat the Mount Everest in this race, and, just break out of the gate moderately well, and, maybe get out to the 3 path. You don't have speed next to you. So I think Jose Ortiz is not going to be encumbered out of the break as much as you might fear, and will actually get a good running position and to pull the upset for me. Dark Money is the horse to beat here, and I think 2, 4, 6, 12 races on the sheet, Seth, of which 10 could be claimed. It was claimed 7 of the 10 times that the horse was eligible to be claimed. The horse to beat here, even money, attacking, good tactical speed. Irad Ortiz should get, you were thinking, as long as he doesn't take the right-hand turn or stumble, should get a position that he seeks. And for third, number 6, Durkin's Called. 2.86 in the fourth.
And why not popular at the claim box? He's finished in the exact over half of his starts. How many horses can claim that?
Not too many.
So dark money on top for me. Off the claim, that was a win at this level. George Weaver showing a limited sample, but does very well off the claim. So again, they claim they come right back in the comfort zone where the horse had a win last time, so why not right back? Irad Ortiz on board just right. Anthony mentioned that one. I think class-wise is going to stack up nicely with this group on the class move, and Jose Ortiz sticks on board today. And then in the third slot, Durkin's Call. Again, making a little bit of a class move that I think will be beneficial because has been against maybe a little bit better in the last two, but you go 3 starts back, was right squarely in with this kind of a group and won. So again, moving back in with his friends today. Durkin's Call underneath. For me in the fourth, 8, 2, 6, and 1.
On to the fifth, we have 3-year-olds and up, fillies and mares, maiden special weights, dashing 5.5 on the melon.
I have it 5, 8, 3, and 2. I thought the 7 could be a little bit intriguing as well. The Chad Brown runner, if you wanted to go there, has been in a couple of off-the-turfers to start the career. But, if you get a 6-1 on Chad and Irad and you want to play around, I'm not going to talk you out of it. But I put 6 feet apart on top. I switched those around. So it should be Tuscan Queen on top. I read the numbers correctly. But I originally did have 6 feet apart on top. But then as I was going back and forth, I eventually landed on Tuscan Queen. So again, the numbers are correct. 5, 8, 3, and 2 for me. Tuscan Queen has a sibling called Girl in the Yellow Taxi that won the lone start of her career. And it was a maiden special weight event right up here at Saratoga a couple of seasons ago. So Street Boss, pretty good with first-time runners. And again, this is a horse that has a start, but I say it often. I think those first-time statistics give you a win early perspective on the sire. And the first-time starters for Street Boss, 39 starters so far this year, 5 wins, 3 seconds, 3 thirds. This one, decent third, so didn't quite live up to that first out win, but I think with that one under the belt, can move forward. So I'll go Tuscan Queen on top, then 6 feet apart. As I said, the Wesley Ward runner was originally on top for me, and these two are very closely matched, but I thought off the first couple, 6 feet apart was very, very dangerous. John Velasquez on board, and I will note that tomorrow on Racing Across America, nice interview with John Velasquez. He was busy today and busy tomorrow, so we couldn't get him live, but caught him yesterday in the backyard of the jockey's room. And really a fun conversation with John, talking a little bit about Malathat and some other subjects as well. But he's on board, 6 feet apart. And Gale Horse Wind in the third spot. I think he'll be heard from in the lane. Got 7-2 on the morning line, and I think the buyers, and again, they're a tool in the toolbox, but the first couple of buyers are pretty good. I thought the last start was okay, but Lescano hops back on board. He rode the horse very well 2 starts back, so that one in my mix also. 5, 8, 3, and 2.
It's already been done, so it's too late, and I know almost all of what we do in horse racing, certain Race Across America, is information about going forward. John Velasquez rode Incurable Optimus in his turf debut up here.
New York bred, right?
Yes, and other than Big Brown's debut, which was on the turf, they're the 2 best juvenile turf races I've seen. Performance I put up here. He was prepping for the Irish 2000 Guineas and got injured and retired, and I thought he should have been the 2-year-old champion, not Answer Lively, but we've talked about it many times. Even amongst scribes who follow this game every day, Manila, the best or second best turf horse I've seen in my lifetime, took to his last year of eligibility to make the Hall of Fame. And if you ever look at Answer Lively's 2-year-old campaign and Incurable Optimist, you're like, dirt racing though. I think you talked about it years ago when it was what? Lady Eli versus Take Charge Brandy?
Could have been.
You thought Lady Eli had a chance? I'm like, no. Right. But Incurable Optimist he rode was fantastic. 2, 3, 8. You have 4 horses here, about a 1.5 difference on the board between 2.5 and 4-1. I have 3 of them in the mix. Seth has 2 of them in the mix. I'm 2, 3, 8. The longest of those 4 is the 4-1 Dame Time, making the 3rd career start for Michelle Nevin. It's at the board in both of them. Drawing the hedge in here because number 1 is an MTO. Well, I guess if it poured and Dame Time stayed in, wouldn't have the hedge, but as a turf race would have the hedge. For second, right next to in the starting gate, number 3, Gale Horse Wind. Linda Rice's runner, making the 4th career start, a second in the second, and for third, the 6 feet apart. Very contentious, as to be expected up here 2, 3, 8 in the 5th.
Sixth race this afternoon. Nice full field. There are some MTOs, though,
Yes.
from 12 to the outside, and also the 8 is an MTO. But optional claimers, non-winners of 2 other than a mile and a half on the grass.
I'm betting the teletimer would be good here. And there's Dak Daniels, who's made the Thursday trifecta picks for the people. All set for the meet on that MTO. But as a turf race going the 3 turns, I've told you how much I love these. 5, 7, and 2. Opry for Todd Pletcher comes off a second place finish in the 2-turn 10 furlong races down at Belmont Park. That was with the addition of blinkers in the 12th career start. For second, number 7, A Journey to Freedom. Mike Maker's runner comes out of the 2-mile Belmont Gold Cup, the second start since late January. And for third, number 2. So 5, 7, and 2 in the 6th.
And I said earlier, I thought this was a card that had a lot of contentious
Yeah.
action, and
Dial it
demonstrated
up.
by the fact that we do not match up at all. And I'm just kind of looking. The morning line favored 3-1 here for A Journey to Freedom. But I have it 4, 6, 3, and 7. I put Kentucky Ghost on top. Comes in from a couple of nice tries at Churchill. Nice optional claiming win 2 back, and then they stepped into the Wisdan last time, so the waters got a little bit deeper. Still ran an okay, kind of close up 5th, but I think dropping back to the optional claiming level for Vicky Oliver will be productive this afternoon. Dot Matrix goes out for 10-strike racing, the nom de plume of Marshall Graham's racing outfit. I saw Marshall over on the front side a couple of days ago, and certainly want to have him back here at some point. Always fun to talk to Marshall and get some of the math behind the game and whatnot. He looks at it in a very unique way, but has become kind of a prominent owner through 10-strike. But Dot Matrix, speaking of New York breds, this is a very talented New York bred, 10 wins and 40 starts with well over $600,000 in the bank. Third start of the season. This is now an 8-year-old, so we will see if the third start moves this horse forward. But I think on better numbers that we still see on the page going back to last year, this horse fits, and I'm hoping, again, third start back, maybe we move forward and closer to one of those numbers, and I think this horse can be in the mix. And then Karam in the 3rd spot, another one making the third start of the season. Won the seasonal debut for a 50 tag, dropped into an optional claimer last time, was not in for the tag, but ran a decent 3rd. I think it's going to fit decently with this field this afternoon. Safi Joseph runners 8-1 on the morning line, and I think very playable. In the 6th, I have it 4, 6, 3, and 7.
On to the 7th, 3 rolls it up. Claimers in for 16,000. Non-winners of 2 races in a life, going 6 on the dirt.
10, 6, 4, and 8. I put Air Show on top. Short price on the morning line, and maybe deservedly so. I mean, the last couple of starts were pretty good. Broke the maiden 3 back, tried Allowance Company in the last 2 at Churchill and Indiana, and now drops in for the tag. So as I say, maybe deservedly the short priced horse in here. But it's one of those drops that makes you scratch your head a little bit. I mean, this is a horse that seems to have more talent. They claimed the horse for $50,000, and again, broke the maiden in a maiden special event, and then tried some more salty Allowance Company. So the drop down to the 16 level. But it's Tommy Amos, it's Maggie Moss and company. These are owners that play the claiming game very well, so I'll trust them to be making the proper move with Air Show. Debo in the 2nd spot, broke the maiden last time very convincingly down at Monmouth. Now, it was for a lower level, and it was on a sloppy track. We'll have to see. But it had the look of maybe being a light bulb moment. May have been aided by the track condition. We'll find out more this afternoon. But I'm going to trust this one to maybe just have turned the corner for Steve Asmussen and Clark Brewster. And you get a decent price on the morning line. 3rd spot, U.S. Steel. Lightly raced for Safi Joseph. Been racing against better. Again, this is another one of those condition or class drops that makes you scratch your chin a little bit. But comes back as a first-time gelding and being lightly raced, a turf to dirt move. There were just things that said, I can't really leave that one out of the mix. Again, at a decent little morning line price. I have a 10, 6, 4, and 8.
8, 10, 5. Air Show, to me, the question you raised was just too big of a question for me to put on top. I'm surprised he's in here. So, it's just
these
too
are
much
the kind
of a
that, to
worry
me, are real
at a
puzzles.
short price. It's just too much of a question mark. I mean, sure, you can see winning, down the road, a couple lengths, and so be it. You move on. But I put Deputy Flag on top, making the third start of the year. I think this horse has run numbers previously in the career, which would be highly competitive, and I think could win this race. And I think off of the 2 races that it's had this year, which were close enough for me to get that, I don't know, according to this, the buyer 74 in that ballpark off of middle to high 60s. Rudy Rodriguez Barn, Deputy Flag, Luis Saez. That's where I wanted to go with my on top pick. For second, the horse to beat in here, Air Show. And for third, number 5, Brunate, going out for Jimmy Bond, who's having consecutive outstanding years, but 8, 10, 5.
Break time?
Yeah, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, the final pick 3.
Welcome to the West. I'm Scott Varley at Saratoga's latest and greatest high-rise luxury condo. Starting in the mid-5s, every condo here has 2 bedrooms and 2 baths and upgrades just like this. Check out these oversized private balconies. We also have a gym, a private lounge, and get this, a heated parking garage. To make a reservation for your private condo at the West, call or text me. I'm Scott Varley at 518-281-6808.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back to Handicappers Report on this Thursday morning. Seth Merrow and Anthony Mormino, and we will dive back into Saratoga on Thursday afternoon, looking at race number 8.
I think it's you and me for 4 straight mornings.
Oh, you're right, because you're in Sunday. People can't get enough of you and me.
No, most people can. Well, most people can get enough of me. You know what I mean? No, everybody likes you, Seth, and understandably. But no, people be like, all right, he wears nice clothes, kind of, but enough.
You do wear nice clothes.
Thank
I will give you that. You and Bick certainly outclass me in that department. There's no question.
Not so much when you wear one of the ties. This is a great summer look today. Now I have to ask because this has become almost an annual thing. Seth already knows where this is going. But last year we're in the same sort of spot, and I said to Seth, this is going to be a wrong type of compliment because it's what it indicates is bad. I said, but that's a really sharp tie. And you don't usually have really sharp ties. And he says to me, Bick, so I already know where this is going. That's a steep Bick gift.
Every year,
it's a great tie.
He gives me the Bago ties like his send-offs. I think he only wears them like twice. I gratefully accept.
Yes, you match it up nicely, but that's a great tie again. 8-6-1 for me, ladies and gentlemen. We got to make Anthony Stabile in a couple moments. Devil's Code from the outside to me is one of my. I like this race very much today. It's a head scratcher card for the horizontal people. I understand, but really Devil's Code for me. I'm anticipating Dylan Davis gets a nice trip because you're going to have to beat number 6, Big Bobby, who's 8-5, and will probably be less, taking on winners for the first time today. And from the rail, first off the claim, the train that is Orlando Noda, number 1, 9th hour, 8-6-1.
Yeah, I've got him flip-flop, 6, 8, 1, and 5 for me. I mean, it's just hard to get past Big Bobby for me, although that race 2 back for Devil's Code puts the horse right in there. So I think Big Bobby has an edge. I don't think it's a huge edge over a best effort from Devil's Code, so I agree there. And 9th Honor, is very, very playable off the claim for Noda. That's a bonus perhaps as well. So 6, 8, 1, and 5.
And I know probably for Seth in my lifetime, we have chagrined the shortening of races through the years. The Jockey Gold Cup was 2 miles and 1.5 miles for some great races. Now a mile and a quarter. But I must say, the Lake George being shortened to a mile a couple of years ago, I like this is one of the shortened. They shortened up the 2 Philly races here. I think this is the 3rd running at a mile.
Miles on the turf are fun races, though.
What?
Just generally, miles on the turf.
Absolutely. As Mr. Jerkins used to say, the winner and the 5 others who should have. So this is 3-year-old Phillies going a mile.
5, 10, 9, and 8 for me. I put Jouster on top. I think the mile on the turf may play right into his hands to take him all the way around for Todd Pletcher. Her. Thank you, because that is one of my pet peeves as well.
Particularly for stakes races.
Stakes races. As I say, that is one of my pet peeves. So again, she'll, I think, be the one to catch, and I think at this mile trip, that may prove difficult. So Jouster on top. Minoan? The 10 horse, I may be totally off on that because the first time I handicapped, I said it, and then the pronunciation from John Embriel was a little bit different. But I'll go with the 10 horse here. Chad Brown, 3rd start in the United States. The first 2 were very good. So this horse will stalk and pounce. I think if Jouster falters a little bit, and Navratilova in the 3rd spot. Nice win last time in Tepin. And I think off of that effort belongs in here with strong consideration. So fun race. There are 2 or 3 others I could point to. Again, with, as I said earlier, it's a contentious card. I could have similar confidence, but I want 5, 10, 9, and 8. We'll hope Jouster turns for home and spurts away a little bit.
Boy, when 2 racetracks name a stakes race after, you must be going to the Hall of Fame. I'm referring to Tepin, who has an aqueduct race. You can see 15-1 in the morning line, Invincible Gal. Adding blinkers today in a wide open race, and I wouldn't know what price the 10 is going to be when the wagering is done. But I think on balance, it's a very evenly matched group. And Graham Motion and John Velasquez make it on Invincible Gal, making the 3rd start of the year, adding blinkers, coming out of the Tepin. This is where I want to be. I think it's going to sit a very good spot because won't want to be near the contention. It's got to be sitting off of the temporary rail. I have technical analysis. The Chad Brown runner making the 3rd start of the year over the Chad Brown runner, the 10, making the 3rd start of the year. I think it's a fantastic grade 3 horse race.
Absolutely. And we wrap up scheduled for about 6:13 this evening. Race number 10, maiden $50,000 claimers. Again, quick 5.5 on the grass.
Boy, that breeze feels great. The 12, 13, 14 MTOs in here, folks. 3, 7, and 2. Epicurean is my top pick for Wesley Ward. Coming back for a tag once again, making the 3rd start of the year for second, number 7. Code name Lizzie? Do not know. Christophe Clement had a first or winner that Steve Bick gave out for the play of the day, and Offspring of Declaration of War, and High Fair for 3rd, 3, 7, and 2.
I went the 1 entry, 3, 4, and 6. Thrill to me is interesting, and it's, again, one of those puzzles. Thrill had some promise in the 2-year-old season last year, and now comes back off of only 3 starts. There's the potential to move forward off of a layoff like that, which I've talked about before, from the 3-year-old to the 4-year-old season. I've said it before. Lightly raced 2-year-olds that come into the 3-year-old season, but it holds for me the same if it's a lightly raced 3-year-old rolling into the 4-year-old season. So there's that potential to move forward. I was just a little concerned comes back for the tag, and that was a little bit of a but Miss Domina also looked pretty good in the first couple of starts. Epicurean, who you mentioned, is likely to show some speed, and then Adele Cat, I think, is also an interesting player in here, maybe a little bit of a price. So for me, the 1 entry, 3, 4, and 6.
We'll take our final break. When we come back to the DePaul Play of the Day.
Welcome to Albany County, an incredible destination to live, work, and play, with easy connections to more than a dozen cities from our vibrant modern airport. It's a short trip downtown to a hive of culture and amusement, from world-class shows at the newly renovated Times Union Center to reliving the past at the New York State Museum. From outdoor recreation to shopping to nightlife, Albany County has something for everyone. We'll see you soon.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes.
It's in front, but here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Bob. These 2 arch rivals hang ahead with Joe Harker.
The Capital Region has some of the most sophisticated horse racing fans in the country. That's why Capital OTB built the Clubhouse Racebook. Here you can wager year-round on the best horse racing from around the world. The Clubhouse also has monthly promotions including live bankrolls, handicapping contests, and so much more. Like sports? Watch your favorite teams on more than 30 screens in Legends Field Sports Grill. Food, sports, and the excitement of championship horse racing. Only at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
At DePaula, we think of our customers as family, so we want your experience here to be fair and easy. Whatever you drive, any make or model, DePaula is at your service with 100 bays and master technicians. So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs. At DePaula, we think of our customers as family, so we want your experience to be fair and easy. DePaula can service any truck up to 72,000 pounds, so if you can drive it, DePaula can service it. So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
It's post time for today's DePaula Play of the Day.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, the Handicappers Report. Now we bring in our good friend Anthony Seville with the DePaula Play of the Day on what is a gorgeous morning, especially for somebody that has early morning duties as our friend hosting the Breakfast Club.
What's happening, fellas? Yeah, it's been I got 5 hours under my belt already. Is that accurate? Yeah, I got about 5 hours under my belt already. Came out early to watch my girl Pieri Bianchi work for Carlos Martin. She went nicely. We got to see Whitmore out here this morning. Of course, she's Breeders' Cup Sprint Champ. Yep. Spoke with Ron Lopet before he went off on the clubhouse turn. Yeah, it was a busy morning, a lot of horses. I'll tell you what, the thing that's the most different here than when I host the program at Belmont is after the renovation break. After the renovation break, it's like watching. I'm not giving anything away. It's like watching the second episode of the final season of Game of Thrones when the White Walkers approach and all the horses are lined up. It's like you feel like you're getting invaded by White Walkers.
Oh yeah,
coming out. It's
great. Like that after the break. Absolutely, get them out there.
Yeah, after the break's amazing. So, but it's been great. We had a few hundred people out here this morning. The food apparently is amazing. I know people have lost a lot of money on the fact that I have not tried the breakfast yet, but apparently it's fantastic. So come on out. We're here every racing day. Buffet opens at 7. Tram start at 7:30. I hit the mic. Little Fugue for Tin Horns kicks us off at 7:30, and we go to 9:30.
Anthony, I can't tell you how many times in the 80s I would get my buffet breakfast up there, and there was a lot on that tray, trust me, and I would sit in Mr. Mellon's Rokeby Stables boxes. Now, one thing, because the track, the way it's set up, in the morning, the sun comes into your eyes, but it's just a beautiful setting. You sit there, and it's just one of the great sporting venues in America, and obviously for better part of 40 years, breakfast at Saratoga has been a thing.
Yeah, I'm honored to be a part of it, to take the baton and move it forward into the next chapter, the next phase of the program. John Kaplan, Raimundo, and the whole team here, Vicky, Ina, everybody over in Guest Services, really pitch in. It's a team effort. Pat and Anthony up in the audio. You guys sending it out, mix here every day. Brian, of course. Shannon's putting it all together. I think it's fantastic, and I love the fact that it's getting out to the homes. If you can't make it out, it's a wonderful way to keep track and feel like you're here. And hopefully it'll draw some people out here as well, because like you guys know, it's a fantastic experience on a morning like this. Mid-60s, sun's out, and up and behind the clouds every now and then. 500-600 horses on the racetrack. It was a glorious morning here at the spot.
It sure is special. So where are you sending us today, Anthony?
Go to the second race today. Time Limits of Philly, who came back from a year-plus layoff, almost a year-and-a-half layoff, and ran really well in the mud. And then she just ran into a couple of pre-stop monsters last time. Honey Pants is a knock-around stakes horse. Two Sexy came back with a big win here last week on the turf, in one of those turf sprints. This filly, she's drawn all the way outside here in post 10. We get scratches in about a half hour. She's drawn outside. She's got enough speed. She could clear. She can also rate. She's one from just off the pace. She makes an awful lot of sense to me. I like time limit. I'm going to single her in everything.
Wow.
In the early pick 4, early pick 5. Yeah, we'll see what price. I don't have the morning line. You guys have a morning line on her? I don't have one.
9 to 5 on time limit.
Yeah, I just think she's the goods today.
Anthony, we're running out of time this morning, but when we have you on next Sunday morning, I'm going to have you promo a little bit the Goonie Golf.
Yes, very good. I'm looking forward to kicking Andy and Kirk's butt up at Lake Grove. It's going to be Sunday.
All righty. That is great. Andy, have a great day. We'll talk to you later.
All right, guys.
And Anthony and Andy are going to face off a little mini golf for Thoroughbred Charities, so it should be fun.
It's going to be better than that, the charity operation, but all part of the one of the few things that my life, being for 14/15 years old with Allied and Affirmed, and the whole real growth of this place has happened in my lifetime. I mean, there wasn't really a lot of people here when I was 10 or 12 years old, but then it just, the I Love New York campaign, Affirmed and Allied, SPAC, guys like Harry Downey, the coverage that James Union gave it, every race the next day. My father used to bring home the Nick News, which was an afternoon paper in the late 70s. It would have the early
morning and afternoon newspapers.
Yes, you would have the early double would be in it. Post time was 1:30. Mary Ryan in the morning out here. There was a lot that went into making this place as unbelievably special.
Because believe it or not, and I barely remember that. Not my lifetime of being a fan, but my parents would come over with people, and it was you walk down to the grandstand, you put in your newspaper on the seat, and you're good to go.
I'll give you a better one. Mom's Command had just come off winning the Philly Triple Crown. It's coming up for the test day. She gets beat by a horse, kind of Lady Secret. You could walk out and touch Mom's Command. Corner under the trees.
Yeah, there was no fence in the path. That will amaze people.
The fact that nothing ever happened is unbelievable. He stays, I go. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great day up at Saratoga Race Course. We'll see you all back here tomorrow morning.
You've been watching the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.